Well, hi, you beautiful New Zealanders. Today's video, we're carrying on with our 21 Reasons David Seymour's Treaty Principles Bill was a huge success. So this is part 3 of a 3-part series. So I hope you enjoy this. What's in the box today? In the last 2 videos in this series, I gave 14 reasons why David Seymour's Treaty Principles Bill was a huge success. In today's video, I give more reasons. I start this video by recapping the first 14 reasons, so watch. Here they are. LUXON's hidden agenda has been exposed. Number 2, LUXON's dishonesty has been exposed. Number 3, LUXON is trashing the will of the people. This has been made obvious. Number 4, LUXON's cowardice has been exposed. And number 5, LUXON's economic ignorance has come to light. Number 6, LUXON is not a true leader. In combination 1 to 5 above confirm that LUXON, he should not be leading the country. You know that? Number 7, free speech has triumphed. People have been able to come out and say whatever they want. Truth has triumphed. Since 1975, truth has been squashed. We've been subjected to propaganda and brainwashing the whole country. We haven't heard an alternative voice, and so now the truth is out. An alternative voice has been voiced about our history and about the treaty, and that's been wonderful. Number 9, it's exposed the weakness of Winston Peters. He should have supported the bill, but he didn't because of personal issues with David Seymour. Number 10, it's exposed the weakness of Speaker Jerry Brownlee. Maori are now running the inside of Parliament. He's capitulated to them too many times, and now they're ruling the roost. Number 11, it has exposed the strength of David Seymour. Truly, he's been like David and Goliath in the biblical story. Number 12, it has exposed the corruption of the National Party and the Select Committee process. And there's a lot to that one, so if you missed that, go back and have a look at the last video and see what I say about that. Number 13, it has exposed the low intelligence of those opposing the bill. They can't come up with one reasoned, logical argument why they don't want to support David Seymour's bill. They can only just give opinions and their feelings, and that's not acceptable. Number 14, it's exposed the ulterior motives of those who oppose the bill. Now that is by far the most important one, because it unlocks the minds of Maori activists, and if you understand that one, then man, we got the whole thing sorted. So let's crack into today. Number 15, the 15th reason David Seymour's bill was a huge success. Well, it's exposed the corruption of the mainstream media. We all know this, that the Treaty Principles Bill has been a huge success because we have witnessed the extent of media corruption.
I want to talk about media bias in New Zealand. Now, by media bias, I don't mean that there is a cabal of journalists deliberately being biased, as you sometimes see in the United States. The bias I mean is unconscious bias, where many journalists have a worldview that makes it impossible for them to fairly report on values, beliefs, and policies supported by people not on the left of politics. It has generally been accepted in many countries that more journalists lean left than right. But until recently, we have not had any hard data for New Zealand. Fortunately, the Worlds of Journalism study in late 2022 has now provided some useful data through their survey of working journalists. The study found a massive 81% of New Zealand journalists classified their political views as left of centre, and only 15% as right of centre. So rather than have, say, a 1-to-1 ratio of left-leaning journalists to right-leaning journalists, you have a 5-to-1 ratio. This is in stark contrast to New Zealand population. The 2020 election survey by Auckland University found 28% of respondents identified as left of centre and 43% as right of centre. So journalists are very unrepresentative of New Zealand in terms of political views. New Zealand journalists were also far more likely to hold extreme left views. 20% of journalists said their political views are hard or extreme left, compared to 6% of adults. On the other side of the spectrum, only 1% said their political views are hard or extreme right, compared to 10% of the adult population. In the last few years, we've also had the $55 million Public Interest Journalism Fund. This fund in no way requires journalists to report favourably on the government, but does require journalism recipients to subscribe to the government's views on the Treaty of Waitangi, which means that debate on the hugely important issue of the role of the Treaty of Waitangi is almost entirely absent from most of the New Zealand media. A poll by my company, Courier, in March 2022 found that 59% of New Zealanders believe government funding of private media companies undermines the independence of media. This view was shared by people across the political spectrum, by a majority of National and ACT voters, and a plurality of Labour and Green voters. The same poll found only 24% of New Zealanders support the Public Interest Journalism Fund. The third and final piece of data of interest also comes from a Courier poll, which was conducted in early April 2023. It asked New Zealanders to state whether they thought various media outlets lean right or lean left or were neutral. The net leans left, so that's left-leaning minus right-leaning, for each outlet were Stuff plus 18%, The Spin-Off plus 15%, One News plus 14%, News Hub plus 13%, Radio New Zealand plus 7%, New Zealand Herald 0%, News Talk ZB minus 37%, The Platform minus 30%. So the only major media outlet seen as broadly neutral was the New Zealand Herald. The two talkback stations were seen as leaning right, while both main television networks, Radio New Zealand, Stuff and The Spin-Off, were seen as leaning left. It was fascinating that a greater proportion of New Zealanders regard Stuff as leaning further to the left than The Spin-Off. This partly explains why trust in the media is so low in New Zealand. A poll late last year by Donata found only 30% trust the media. I suspect it will keep dropping unless the media industry recognises it has a problem. To many New Zealanders, the media are not seen as disinterested reporters. They're seen as employees of companies with ideological agendas who not only don't understand New Zealanders who are not left-leaning, but show active hostility towards them. In countries like the UK and the US, newspapers and broadcasters quite openly lean left or lean right. I regard that as preferable to a situation where a newspaper or broadcaster proclaims they are neutral, yet they are not. It has become very fashionable for media companies and non-media companies to have diversity statements, expressing their desire to have newsrooms that reflect the ethnic diversity of New Zealand. It would be nice if one day they also expressed a desire to have newsrooms that reflect the political diversity of New Zealand. I'm David Farrer, media commentator, pollster and blogger for The Common Room. For more videos like this, subscribe at commonroomnz.com.
Effectively, the media has been the support act of the Labour, Greens and Maori parties. This corruption was fuelled by the $55 million Public Interest Journalism Fund, initiated by that terrible woman, ex-Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern. Since then, things have gotten a lot worse. If you stand up for Seymour and side with him, you're ridiculed. This is what it's like. You're cancelled. I've had that. You're a villain. I've had that. You're a racist. You're publicly humiliated. This is what you get if you oppose the Maori agenda for New Zealand. And but if you support any of these parties, you're a hero. You're a champion. So much of the media coverage on the Treaty Principles Bill relies heavily on the opinions of activist Maori scholars, Maori political leaders, Maori advocates, many of whom stand to benefit from the continuation or expansion of the so-called treaty-based rights. They're all gaining from it, so they don't want David's bill. If you're against the bill, media outlets won't let you advertise. Hobson's Pledge wanted to put an advert in the Herald, but it was refused. Look what Don Brash had to go through. Here was his brilliant ad shaming Chris Luxon, and he should have been shamed because he wasn't listening to the people. He wanted to do his own thing, and that was shameful. He's in government to do the will of the people, not to do his own thing. And so he just put his fingers in his ears and shut his ears to the will of the majority. Shame on that guy. But this is what Don Brash has had to go through, and this is showing the corruption of the media. Well, thankfully, billionaire Jim Grennan is coming to the rescue, buying a significant stake in NZME, which includes the Herald. The talk is now that he and other significant shareholders will drain the media swamp not a moment too soon. Yet, even Grennan's purchase is now under threat. Did you know that? Just today I read the following. A takeover of the NZME board by Canadian billionaire Jim Grennan is facing scrutiny from the New Zealand Takeover panel. I didn't even know such body even existed. I don't know where they all come from. They come out of the woodwork when they want to stop something. who are investigating potential breaches of the listing rules. See, this is all the little stick they come out with, and they find a loophole and they get some bureaucratic red tape going. Because you know what? Jim Grennan wants to clean up the media, make sure it's balanced, and give the media back. But the activists, well, they don't want that. They want to keep the brainwashing going, the propaganda going, the one-sided, unbalanced journalism. Grennan, who owns 9.3% stake in the company, has been attempting to replace the board, but the panel is concerned that he may be acting in concert with other shareholders, potentially violating listing rules, so they say. Look at this, will you? The panel's investigation is ongoing, with a final decision expected later this week. See what they're like. As soon as somebody pops their head up and wants to clean up New Zealand, they get attacked. People start to look for legal ways to shut you down. The New Zealand Takeover Panel's investigation, to me, it just reeks of corruption, which leads to yet another positive consequence of the Treaty Principles Bill. What's that? Well, it's exposed how corrupt New Zealand has become. Our country is absolutely marinating in corruption. Watch. Okay, thank you so much for watching. Now we need you to take some action. If we're going to save New Zealand, we have to reach ordinary Kiwis. We have to educate them about what is going on in our country. Most are apathetic or ignorant or just oblivious to the dangers of marification and co-governance. And you know what? The media is working against informing New Zealanders about the truth of our history, about the truth of what's going on in our country. So this is where you can help. We produce flyers and brochures. If you can deliver these to your suburb, that would be absolutely amazing. We have to go directly to the people because there's no other way of doing this. So here's some cards that you can get. There's our business cards. They're 3 cents each plus courier to get them to you. Then there's this booklet called The Psychology of Takeover. 19 strategies Maori activists are using to take over our country. And then we have our original Stop Co-Governance booklet. We have a few thousand of these left over. And these are actually now free. So you just get them courier to you and you pay for the courier and we'll get them to you. And then we have the Macca flyer. That's the Marine and Coastal Act brochure, which tells people that we're about to lose our beaches. And then we have our bumper stickers. So New Zealand's identity is under threat. First activists have and still are trying to change the name of New Zealand to Aotearoa. We must oppose this. We don't want that. Who said we could do that? Nobody said that. It's just been forced on us, that change. Second, Maori sovereignty flags are appearing everywhere more and more. So we've printed some awesome bumper stickers. They're $3 each, and that's what they measure. You can get any of these free products. All you need to do is pay for the courier to get them to you. For the products that cost something, it's cost plus courier. To order these, use this email address. Yeah, it's so simple. All right, and then we have this one, just how much the taxpayer money is going to Maori-only initiatives. This flyer highlights race-based special treatment and gives full details. It reveals all the hidden gifting. And these flyers are free. You can order them from that address. And this is our latest thing that we've got is scan and win. These are little stickers. They measure 15 centimeters by 12 centimeters. So you can stick these on power poles, your letterbox, bus shelters, fences, shop windows, literally anywhere. Scanning the QR code leads to our YouTube channel, which is what we want. That's about education. So these are $1 each plus postage. You can order them from that email address. And finally, please, oh please, please subscribe to our channel. When you subscribe, you get the latest videos straight into your inbox. You'll never miss a video. You'll link up with like-minded people all over New Zealand. You'll be telling YouTube, I like these videos, and they will respond by advertising our videos to more Kiwis for free. And turning your New Zealand around is simply a matter of reaching more Kiwis with the truth. That's what it's about. So there down the bottom right-hand side of your screen is the subscribe button. Just click on that subscribe button and you'll be subscribed. As simple as that. Finally, if you want to access all our videos that we have ever made, including all our most viewed and most popular videos, and we have them all in one place. So just type in this address into your browser. There it is there. Job done. Then all you do is save this address on your computer as a favorite, and you've done the job. All right. Thank you, you guys. You're absolutely awesome.